The most personal song on my album is a song called I Am My Father's Son. It's the last song I played my dad before he fell into his final coma. And the funny thing was, at that point in my life, I'd stopped playing my songs to people. I was writing so much for other singers and working so hard at the recording and the demoing for other singers that I'd resolved, when I wasn't working, when I wasn't writing, to never play anything. I just didn't want to think about music, say once evening hit, so I could be fresh, so the next day I could start anew with more songs. But curiously, I broke that rule. I had this strange compulsion to play the song for my dad. And it was about our struggles, our love, our sometimes hate, our similar powerful personalities. My father's need to try to dominate me, my need to kind of rebel against his dominance. As I've said earlier, I think that the roles of fathers and sons, of parents and children, don't really change that much. I don't think we ever stop being our parents' child. I walked into my dad's house. He was in his wheelchair, listening to Count Basie. He always loved Basie. He always loved jazz. And I said, "Hey, Dad, I got this new song I wrote about you and me. It's called My Father's Son. I'd like you to hear it." He said, "Oh, no. I don't want to hear any songs about you and me. I don't want to hear any more pot shots about what a bad dad I was. I'm tired of all these songs about fathers and sons." That was the great thing about my father, was even at the very end of his life, even with both his legs gone, even with him being on dialysis, he still had so much spirit, so much fire. His brain was so alive and his hearing was so good. And I said, "No, Dad, it's not a put-down song. It's not a song about who is right or who is wrong. Sometimes you just have to listen to the song. I can't explain it." And at the time I demoed the song, so I slipped the compact disc into the speakers. And he just rolled his wheelchair right between the speakers, and I was taken aback by how intensely he was listening. It was like he was breathing in every word as though it was a morphine drip. And I kept feeling as though he was looking for rebuttals. He would scowl at one line and kind of smile at another. And I could tell he was building up all his arguments, to take me on once the song was finished. But then a very strange and unexpected thing happened. The third verse of My Father's Son talks about the first time I saw my father cry. I was 25. It was right after my dad found out that his dad had died. And I'd sped over to his house. I must have made it there in 10 minutes. He was packing. And the tears were rolling down his face. And he said, "I got to get all this crying out of my system so I can be strong for my mother." And I put that in the song. The third verse was, "The first time that I saw you cry was the morning that your daddy died." And when that lyric hit, he cried. My father wasn't a crier. And the really odd part was, as he was hearing me sing about the first time I saw him cry, I was watching him cry for the last time. Because it was shortly after that he died.
Still, I forgive you. I have no choice. When all is said and done, I am my father's son.